Hello, and welcome back to the Become Batgirl Society, where we discuss leveling up strategies so you can become the girl of your dreams. Today, we are talking about the fourth stage of jealousy and envy sabotage. Make sure to go back to the first three videos and the entire five-part series. So, this is the part where envy stops pretending to be subtle, where once there were whispers, now there are moves, calculated ones. Where before there was silent resentment, now there's strategy, and this can get intense. However, distancing yourself from envious people when you see the first red flags will help to ensure things do not reach this stage. So by this point, the envious person is no longer content to just watch you. They don't want to just copy you, imitate you, or compete with you. They may even harm you physically and emotionally. They want to block your progress, tear you down. Remove the spotlight from you and make sure it never lands on you again. Because now, your existence doesn't just bother them, it threatens them. Sabotage is envy that's been boiling for too long. It's what happens when bitterness festers in someone's heart and they decide that if they can't win, then you shouldn't either. And the scariest part? They might still be smiling in your face while they do it. Sabotage doesn't always look like a big dramatic takedown. Sometimes it's small, sneaky, calculated. It shows up in backhanded compliments they give to others about you, a subtle shade they throw in rooms you're not in, a quiet little lies that reshape how others view you, and opportunities you never even knew existed because they made sure you never heard about them. This stage of envy is no longer just emotional, it's tactical. Sabotage is a decision, a conscious or unconscious choice to block or destroy what you've worked for. And often, the people doing it, they were once the ones who cheered you on. But once your growth outpaced their comfort, once your light got too bright for their shadow, they changed. And now, they're not sitting on the sidelines anymore. They're stepping into the arena with only one mission: to make sure you don't win. So what actually drives a person to sabotage someone they once admired or even loved? Why does envy, which may have started as silent comparison or passive bitterness, evolve into full-blown intentional destruction? The answer is dark, but it's simple. Sabotage is the final resort of someone who no longer believes they can rise with you. So instead, they try to make you fall. In the early stages of envy, comparison, resentment, even obsession, there's still a flicker of belief. That person may be competing silently, mimicking you, or keeping tabs on you, but deep down, they're still operating under the illusion that they can catch up. That if they work harder, get luckier, or make the right move, maybe they can win too. But when they realize they can't match your growth, your glow, or your grace, the envy hardens. Now it becomes hostile. And what was once internal resentment becomes external action. Sabotage is envy turned outward. It's envy with a mission. By this point, the person doesn't just feel bad about themselves when they see you win. They feel provoked by your existence. They feel like your success is an insult to their failure. Your peace offends their inner chaos. Your confidence, joy, or talent becomes too much to tolerate. So, what do? They plot. They position themselves. They set traps. They don't just want to catch up anymore. They want to erase the gap by eliminating you. And here's the twisted part. Many of them don't even see themselves as villains. Instead, they convince themselves they're balancing the scales. They tell themselves, I'm just calling them out. They needed a reality check. They're getting too big-headed. They don't really deserve what they have. Sabotage, at its core, is emotional revenge. It's how the envious person tries to get back what they think you took from them. Attention, validation, opportunities, spotlight, respect. And the key word here, think. Because in most cases, you didn't take anything. You just showed up and succeeded. You focused on yourself. You grew. You elevated. But for someone already struggling with self-worth, that's enough to feel like a personal attack. Let's be real. Some people don't actually want equality. They don't want to see both of you win. They want to see you fall so they can feel tall. That's what makes sabotage so insidious. It's not about what they can build for themselves. It's about what they can destroy in you. Now, here's where it gets even more dangerous. Sabotage is rarely obvious. It's almost never loud or direct. In fact, it's often disguised as looking out for you. It's just being honest, trying to help someone else avoid getting hurt. Or worse, I'm doing what needs to be done. Sabotage often wears a mask of morality. They make themselves the hero of a story where you're the threat. And in their version of events, tearing you down is justified, even necessary. And how does it show up? You notice people treating you differently after spending time with them. You find out about conversations you weren't a part of, but your name was. You suddenly miss out on opportunities you were a top pick for and can't figure out why. People start doubting your intentions or second-guessing your character based on nothing you actually did. That's sabotage. It's sneaky, it's strategic, and it's rarely direct. It's not a slap to your face. It's a whisper in someone else's ear. It's a carefully timed email, a misplaced word, a harmless joke made in a powerful room. The saboteur knows exactly what string to pull, what truth to twist, what audience to influence. They don't need to scream. They don't even need to lie outright. They just need to create enough doubt to shift the room's perception of you. And once the seed is planted, they sit back and let the doubt grow on its own. This is why sabotage is the most dangerous form of envy. It's surgical. It's envy with a scalpel. But here's the part they never understand. You can't sabotage someone who's protected. You can't block what's already blessed. You can delay a person's progress, but you can't erase their purpose. Sabotage is a last-ditch effort of a collapsing ego. It's the final move of someone who's out of options, out of energy, and out of self-worth. Because here's what you need to remember. Nobody who is secure in themselves is trying to destroy you. Only the empty feel the need to break what they cannot build. But now that you understand the mindset behind sabotage, you can stop asking, why would they do that to me? And start asking, what is it about me that exposed them? And with that lens, you don't just survive sabotage, you rise in spite of it. One of the most telling signs that you're being sabotaged is when someone starts quietly chipping away at your credibility. And it's almost never loud or obvious. It's calculated. Strategic. They don't run around yelling, don't trust her. No, they plant seeds, little comments, casual doubts, questions that sound innocent at first, but are designed to make people wonder about your value, your skills, your character. Here's how it sounds in real life. Yeah, she's good, but sometimes she can be a little intense, don't you think? He's really talented, but I'm not sure he's ready for that kind of responsibility. That's her version of the story, anyway. These aren't full-blown lies. They're what I call truth distortions. Just enough ambiguity to make someone second-guess you. What makes this tactic dangerous is that it's so easy to overlook. You might not even know what's happening until you start noticing people treating you differently. People pull back from offering you opportunities. Conversations go cold around you. You're excluded from meetings, projects, or decisions without explanation. And when you try to figure out what changed, there's no clear answer, just a shift in the room. That's sabotage. The person doing it wants to reposition you quietly, not by attacking you directly, but by reshaping how others see you. It's a subtle assassination of your character. And here's the worst part. If you call it out, you look paranoid. That's how clean their game is. What are you talking about? I never said anything bad about you. You're overreacting. I was just making conversation. But make no mistake, they know exactly what they're doing. They're playing the long game, and their goal is simple: make you look untrustworthy, unstable, or unfit, without ever having to say those words outright. This tactic is especially common in environments where perception is power. Workplaces, creative industries, social circles, even churches or volunteer spaces. Because when they can't be you and they can't outshine you, they'll settle for making others doubt you. So if you're finding that your reputation seems to be taking hits without cause, or if people start treating you differently out of the blue, start asking not what did I do, but who benefits from this? Because sabotage doesn't just happen. It's engineered. And credibility is always the first thing they try to kill. Another common tool in a saboteur's arsenal is gossip, but not just any gossip. This is when someone starts speaking about you in a way that's carefully designed to trigger suspicion, concern, or doubt in others, all while maintaining the appearance of neutrality or care. They might say things like, I love her, but sometimes I just worry she's not handling things well. I really want him to succeed, but he's been acting kind of off lately. They just seem different. I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking it. These kinds of statements are powerful because they don't accuse you of anything. Instead, they suggest something is wrong and let others fill in the blanks. And that's the genius of it. It's sabotage and soft focus. By using emotionally loaded language, they introduce narratives that spread like wildfire, even if there's no real evidence behind them. And because they frame it like worry, they come off as loyal friends or caring colleagues, not backstabbers. Meanwhile, they're painting you as unstable, arrogant, manipulative, or unworthy. Before you even walk into the room, the people around you have already been briefed, just not by you. And if you ever confront them about it, they'll play innocent. I was just expressing my feelings. I didn't mean any harm. I didn't say anything untrue. I was just trying to look out for you. But make no mistake, this is intentional narrative control. It's a form of psychological warfare, and it's designed to alienate you from others before you even realize what's happening. If people start pulling back from you, showing hesitation, or treating you with guarded energy without any clear reason, there's a good chance someone's been poisoning the well. That's not drama. That's sabotage. They will interfere with your opportunities, quietly and intentionally. In this stage, the envious person is no longer satisfied with manipulating people's perception of you. They now want to block your path forward. This could show up in 100 small ways. You were supposed to be introduced to someone important, but the connection never came. Your name was recommended for something until they casually mentioned a flaw you didn't know they were tracking. A collaboration was in the works until they inserted themselves into the conversation and made things weird. This is strategic. They might say something like, "Oh, they're really busy right now. I wouldn't bother them. I think they're going through something. Maybe wait to reach out." To be honest, I'm not sure this project aligns with their strengths. And just like that, you're excluded without ever being given a chance. In the workplace, this might mean leaving you out of emails, failing to mention your contributions, or volunteering to handle it themselves before you can even step in. In creative or social spaces, it might look like stealing the mic, rerouting the conversation, or pretending they didn't know you were involved. And again, it's always wrapped in plausible deniability. They'll say they were trying to help, or didn't realize, or didn't think you were interested. But make no mistake, this is deliberate. They are intentionally trying to shrink your presence so they can expand theirs. Because some people don't want to compete. They want to clear the field completely. And the easiest way to do that? Make sure you never get the chance to show up in the first place. An envious person will also try to turn others against you, especially your inner circle. This one is brutal because it's not just about you. It's about your relationships. When someone feels threatened by your power, your presence, or your potential, they may not just try to tear you down, they'll try to isolate you. They'll start quietly influencing the people closest to you, trying to plant doubts in their minds. Have you noticed she's been acting different lately? Do you really trust him to keep your secrets? They're cool. But don't you ever feel like they're kind of using you? They say things that don't sound aggressive, but they infect the mind, and suddenly your friends stop telling you things. Your business partner becomes hesitant. Your colleagues keep their distance. You're still in the room, but you're no longer in the loop. Why? Because someone behind the scenes is painting you as unsafe. Not by calling you names, but by asking questions, and if they can turn your circle against you. They don't have to destroy you. They'll let your loneliness do it for them. This is sabotage at its most sinister because it doesn't attack your work. It attacks your support system. And when you're isolated, you're easier to manipulate. You're more likely to doubt yourself. You're less likely to fight back. So if you ever notice someone who's always checking in on your relationships but never really present to support them, that's not a friend, that's a wedge. And wedges are what saboteurs use to break apart everything you've built. The most extreme sabotage comes in the form of physical violence. One of the most disturbing and unforgettable examples of sabotage I can think of that I've heard is the true story of Naomi Oni, a young woman from East London whose so-called friend, Mary Cognier, threw acid in her face. This wasn't random, it wasn't spontaneous. It was planned, calculated, and executed by someone Naomi knew and trusted. In 2012, Naomi was walking home from work when she was followed by a woman in a full face veil. What she didn't know was that the woman under the veil was her friend, Mary Cognier, someone she had laughed with, shared secrets with, confided in. And as she got close enough, Mary threw acid directly onto Naomi's face. The attack left Naomi with horrific burns. Her face, chest, and arm were disfigured. She lost her confidence, her independence, and in many ways, her identity, because her physical appearance changed overnight. She underwent skin grafts, surgeries, and years of emotional trauma. But the most devastating part? It wasn't a stranger who did this to her. It was her friend, someone who had once admired her beauty, her strength, her presence, but grew to resent it. During the trial, it was revealed that Mary was deeply envious of Naomi, especially her looks and her growing social media following. She admitted to being jealous. She couldn't stop comparing herself, and when the resentment grew too loud to ignore, she acted. She didn't just want to hurt Naomi. She wanted to sabotage her life, her identity, her future. She wanted to erase what made her feel less than. This is the darkest form of sabotage, physical violence. Naomi described her entire friendship with Mary Cognier as turbulent. Long before the acid attack ever took place, the signs were already there. Mary had a pattern of toxic behavior, jealousy, and emotional instability. Naomi recalled a story where Mary had told Naomi's boyfriend that Naomi was cheating. This was a lie. This is why it's so important to take red flags seriously, especially when they come from people close to you. We often try to brush things off, explain away bad behavior, or cling to the history we've shared with someone. But the truth is, the version of someone they show you the first time is often the truest. Friendship should feel safe. It should be full of joy, support, laughter, and love. It should never feel like you're walking on eggshells, constantly defending your wins or second-guessing someone's intentions. If you're always in a cycle of bickering, tension, or emotional undercutting, that's not friendship. That's a warning. And Naomi's story is a painful reminder that when jealousy is left unaddressed, it can grow into something deeply dangerous. We can't keep overlooking toxic energy for the sake of history, loyalty, or potential. The moment someone makes you feel smaller, dimmer, or less safe around your own light, that's your cue to step back, protect your peace, and leave. Because not everyone who sits beside you is clapping for you. And while most people won't go this far, it shows how envy, when left unchecked, can become a weapon. It starts with comparison, then resentment, then obsession. And for some, that leads straight to the unthinkable. It's a chilling reminder that envy doesn't always stop at reputation damage or stolen credit. Sometimes, envious people will try to destroy your body, your face, your livelihood, just to feel better about themselves. This isn't just jealousy. This is evil masked as insecurity, and it's why recognizing the early stages of envy matters. Because someone who starts off mocking your outfit today may be mocking your pain tomorrow. Someone who jokes about knocking you off your pedestal today might be the one reaching for your crown when you're not looking. And while not every envious person becomes violent, every violent saboteur starts with envy. So we cannot keep minimizing envy as just human nature. Unchecked, it becomes a motive. Naomi Oni's story is not just one of pain, but of unimaginable strength. Because even after all she went through, she chose to speak out, to show her scars, to turn her pain into a message. And that message is clear. Be careful who you let close, because not all friends clap when you win. Some are just waiting to strike. In the last part of this series, we turn our attention to the saboteur. Because the last stage of envy doesn't concern what they do to you, it's what they do to themselves. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.